all good stories must come to an end, at least a second time concerning this series. So this is the final chapter, the final game of KNB Extra Game, Chapter 8. And it's a bittersweet because now we know that it's a final ending. There's no other chapters to come, and that it's good that it ended, but at the same time we don't get to see these characters anymore, wait weekly or bi-monthly for a new chapter. So in this last game, there's 2 minutes, at least 2 minutes and 51 seconds left on the clock, and the pressure is put on. And if you remember from the last chapter, chapter 7, Murasaki Bar had to be subbed out for Kuriko to come in due to the injury he received on his wrist after the play between him and Silver. So Kuriko comes in, and Jabberwock is mocking him because he is the smallest player on the court, and they don't see him as much of a threat. But if you knew Kuriko, you would deem him as a threat. So, like I said, the pressure is put on. Everyone is on edge and just trying to get a point in so they can win. And there was like there was a point in time where the most important part of this chapter had to do with Akashi. But before I get to that, we have where Kagami and Aomine, the two aces of both their teams, go into the zone. That was really epic. Even when Kagami went into the second zone, you saw the doors open and he's just paving way through. He's just taking shots in, and Aomine with his formless shot, and it was really awesome. It was really amazing to see. Okay, and Kuroko doing his phantom shot, they couldn't believe that the ball so-called disappeared, and him doing his steals and whatnot. But now when it comes to Akashi, as we know, Akashi has come back, okay? But not really, because in this chapter we finally got a conclusion on his end of his character, because in part one, even after the defeat with Saren, Odashi and Bokashi still existed in Akashi Seijiro. So he never really got a true ending compared to the other characters that were shown in part one. Now, in this chapter, we find where in his mind, we see Bokashi and Akashi talking, and Bokashi is like, I'm going to leave now because you are strong enough in order to handle the situation that is happening right now. You don't need my help. And some people might say, Fujimaki allowed Bokashi to die. No, that is not the case. I would like to think it as he's finally accepting himself, because a person cannot live with two different entities in themselves. That's basically saying you'll never accept yourself, and you need one part of you to be a safety mechanism in case certain situations arise, and that part of yourself comes to the forefront in order to handle the situation. And when it does, it just draws back, and this other side of yourself comes in front and does what they have to do. No, Akashi never got a true conclusion, and he did not accept himself. But in this chapter, we finally see a closure on his side, on his character, where Bokashi basically is now coming together with Odashi in order to form the Akashi that we now see at the ending of this chapter, the true form of Akashi. It might sound like some evolution or something, but no. Akashi has finally accepted himself. He has grown. We have seen him grown, and now he's able to put up a fight towards Nash, the demonic's eye. Okay, his eye is either on the same level or higher, stronger than Nash's demonic eye. And I like the fact that we finally can see Akashi as his true self. We no longer have to have these two sides of him. Whenever something occurs, one comes out and the other takes back. No, two halves have finally became a whole. So by the ending of this chapter, it's a 1 point difference, which is nothing new concerning Kuriko, because Saren, the main team in part one, has always won by, especially in the later half of the series, has won by 1 point against their opponents. So it was not surprising to see they won by 1 point. And Jabberwock has finally took their behinds and traveled back to America with their sorry, you know what, they lost and they left, and it was amazing. I'm glad they lost. I think everybody's happy that they lost, and Swords has reigned supreme, has reigned victorious at the end of the day. So also another part was we finally get to see Ninji Mora. We finally saw him instead of a flashback. We finally saw him, and he's friends. We know that he has become friends with Kyoshi, and they heard what has happened, and everywhere around the world know what has happened. So it was good to see these two characters again. So that was basically it. We finally got closure on Akashi. The match has been settled with our main team winning, and it was a bittersweet ending. Okay, it was fulfilling from beginning to end, hype from the first chapter to the last chapter. And I really have to tell Fujimaki Sensei thank you for creating this series after all the things that you have went through. To see that you push forward and that your story has become successful, I applaud you, and I hope for any future projects that you are going to create, I hope you have as much success as you have with the Kuroko no Basuke series. Now, there's some other news. If you have not heard or read, there will be a movie of Kuroko no Basuke. It has been greenlit after from last year during the Kurobas Cup 2015. They said that there will be a movie and it has been greenlit. And just a few days ago, it was stated that the movie will be extra game and it will be coming out next year 2017. We don't know which month it will be, but definitely it's coming out next year in Japan in theaters. And that there will be another movie, but it will be about the Winter Cup. It will be three movies. So the those three movies will probably take from the episodes and add extra scenes. That's what I can assume about those three little movies. So if you want that information, you want to know more about that, I'm gonna put the link in the description box so you can read it from Anime News Network. And do tell me your thoughts and your opinions on this last chapter of KNB Extra Game Chapter 8 in down below. Check me out on Twitter and Tumblr. Also, the Facebook page is in the description box, so you can click on that. And I'm Kimmy Chan of Anime Legends Podcast, and this is my final review of KNB, and I will see you guys later. Bye.